Welcome to the ITSP Magazine Podcast Network, a modern, innovative multimedia platform, broadcasting ideas and connecting minds. Every company has a story to tell, from the small startup to the large enterprise, and everything in between. This is one of them. We hope you enjoy this brand story conversation.
Marco.
Sean.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know. I never know what to expect from you. Even after so many podcasts in these days and in the past 10 years we've done together.
To throw the tomato at
you. You still surprise me sometimes. But I've learned how to react quickly.
You've done well at responding to my weirdness when I throw stuff at you. But here we are. We're at CyberCon in Melbourne, hosted by AISA. It's been a fabulous 3 days, and we're going to learn about some of the stuff that Jade and the team at ThreatLocker heard this week. Yeah. We heard a lot about sessions. We've had some conversations from some of the speakers ourselves. I'd love to hear about some of the things that you heard this week, Jade, so maybe you want to share kind of how the last few days have gone?
Very busy. We have spoken to a lot of people, a lot of different companies. There's been so many different industries here as well, which is great to see. A lot of government departments as well. But yeah, look, overall, the last 3 days have been non-stop. I was just saying we ran out of swag on the first day, and we got another load today that we ran out of. So there's been so many people coming by the booth, which obviously we're very happy about. And heaps of different conversations as well. I think I mentioned when we had a chat the other day around the Essential 8, and I think it's a thing that catches everyone's eye on our stand. We have a big sign saying Essential 8, and people are walking past and saying, oh, Essential 8, how do we do that? And it's such a talking point in the industry in Australia. So it's been drumming up a lot of interest for people to come over and have a chat and see how we do it.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I guess with our focus in on a zero trust mentality, it just really aligns extremely well with the Essential 8 being a framework that is really standardised across Australia, and a lot of companies are kind of starting to implement it. Some are saying, oh, I need to get to, there's 3 different maturity levels for those that aren't as across the Essential 8. So some are like, oh, we're just hitting maturity level 1, but we want to see how we can standardise getting across to maturity level 2 or 3, or if they can consolidate their tools down, because a lot of the time when you're trying to do these frameworks, it's how many tools do we need to get to these frameworks. So if there is a tool that can centralize it all a little bit more, which ThreatLocker does quite well, we don't cover to maturity level 3 in everything in the Essential 8, but we have a foot in every part of the Essential 8. So we can really help companies consolidate their tools down if they are looking to aim towards something like Essential 8 maturity.
And from my understanding, because I'm not familiar with Essential 8, is it a certification, or is it you self-report on your maturity level, or how does that work?
They have to go through, my understanding is, and look, I'm not so much on the technical side of things, but talking to my clients is they will get like external auditors that come in and they will audit where they're sitting in that maturity level. For some industries, some government industries, it's becoming mandated, and it's quite a common thing now. Some insurance companies, even like cyber insurance companies, will kind of lean towards companies needing Essential 8 to not bump up their insurance costs. So it's just kind of something that's been standardised, across the region there. But it's more so their goal is to get auditors come in and say, yep, you've reached this maturity level, and you can kind of start aiming for the next.
So, Mark, I'll let you go in a second, but so you mentioned a lot of different industries. Mm-hmm. Do you see somewhere, I mean, because you guys, your team covers a lot of capabilities, from endpoint networking and whatnot. Are there different focus areas based on different industries, different maturity levels of industries, or different capabilities that the business requires, different sets of protections from that? I don't know if you kind of paint a picture of what you're hearing and seeing.
No, definitely. I feel like conversations, as soon as it becomes like government focused, they're getting pinned for a bit of a higher maturity level. They want to make sure they've got solid framework, so they want to be at the level 2, level 3 maturity levels. But in most cases in the conversation I'm having, a key focus for a lot of them is that application control side of things, which obviously we do very, very well. So that's where even some of the smaller players are really just coming in there, like we want to reach at least maturity level 1 and we want to have a focus in on application control if we can. And two of the main parts of the Essential 8 is your application control and your application hardening. So they're both things we do really well with our allow listing and our ring fencing models. So we're able to really help companies, no matter how small or big, in what level they're wanting to achieve, kind of start looking towards getting there.
So I have a question for you, because as you make a joke, we oftentimes at the conference we spend a lot of time not on the floor, right. And we have to cut ourselves a little bit of extra time to just go and say hi to people that we know. Well, you spend the 3 days in this case, or any other event, which I know ThreatLocker is everywhere, yep. Right?
Everywhere, all the time.
And so I want to know a little bit what you heard from maybe other vendors or the topic. I don't know if you had a chance, probably not, because you were there to listen to some keynotes or presentation. But also the function of, for you guys to be on the floor and then maybe learn new things, get a feedback, go back to marketing, go back to development and the C-level and say, hey guys, this is the new thing on the street. Maybe we can meet some of these requests. Maybe there is something new that you guys bring back to the company and then put it into the product.
No, definitely. And I guess these events that's the benefit of them. It's not all about just getting people looking at ThreatLocker in particular. It's us learning off people, okay, what's something that people are coming up and asking us for? What's the next thing that people need and they're pushing for? And that's one thing coming into ThreatLocker, I've been in a few different tech spaces before, different kind of industries, and one thing I find ThreatLocker does really well is listening to the needs of everyone and constantly improving, and being able to take them thoughts on board and seeing where we can grow next, and it's constantly evolving. And being on the floor the whole time for 3 days, and it's been a busy conference. Some of my conversations with some of the delegates is, how are you picking what you're going to watch? Because there's so much on. I think some of the sessions, there's over like 20 sessions on or something at a time in some situations. So I'm like, I don't know how they're picking what they're watching, but we're having some good conversations in that front, and even just talking to the other vendors and seeing what else is out there. Obviously a lot of vendors come here and they've got big signs of their new big fun tools kind of going on to get the conversations going there, so we can kind of get an idea of what's happening in the space and what the clients want to start seeing as well.
Any buzzword that you heard more than other? We always make fun of, sometimes it used to be like zero trust and then resilience, and then one thing, anything that these event kind of stuck in your mind?
I mean, I haven't left the ThreatLocker booth. I don't think it's been that busy. So, I mean, our buzzwords is always, people walk past, they're like, oh, zero trust. It is still very much a buzzword.
Oh, it is still
around. Yeah. They're like, oh, how do you do this? And it's, very, very much still a buzzword for us. I mean, for me as well, like I've said, that Essential 8 buzzword is just constant. Especially, we were right next to the Victorian government booth, so there's a lot of people walking straight past there.
That's a good location to be.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, connect the two. Well, on the point of zero trust, so certainly in the States, it was something that I think I've sensed that it was not achievable. It was a marketing scheme to get people to look at new technologies in a different way.
Yeah.
I think it has some certainly valid elements to it that organizations are trying to achieve its objective.
Yeah.
So you said ThreatLocker is able to help organizations on that journey to what zero trust means for them.
Yeah.
And I guess the other point I'll make is the definition of zero trust is different depending on who you're speaking with.
To,
So I don't know if you, from your perspective, generally around zero trust, and I don't know if it's slightly different from your colleagues in other areas outside of Australia, but the definition of zero trust from ThreatLocker's perspective and how that aligns with where organizations are looking to achieve their definition of zero trust.
No, definitely. So I guess where we come from, our definition of zero trust is we always speak back to it as a default deny approach. Traditionally, I guess, within a lot of the cyber world, it was let's just allow everything and deny as we need, whereas we want to default deny and only allow as we need. So rather than taking that approach of we're going to just trust everything and hope that we catch the bad guys, we're going to trust nothing. And then only allow really actions that have to happen. So I guess that's where the zero trust mentality comes in. You only want to allow the actions that need to happen in your environment happen, and then cut off everything else, really.
Right. And my own ignorance and lack of understanding would generally lead that with network, perhaps then with identity and access control. And then beyond that, organizations have zero insight and ability. So what's your perspective on that in terms of the layers of what's needed?
Well, I mean, we cover a fair bit of it. So obviously, I guess we'll start with application control. So on endpoints, a lot of companies give their employees a bit of free realm of what they want on there, and some of the stuff I've seen on some audit calls of applications that people have on their computers, it really makes you question how much work's getting done sometimes. But so we're finding out what apps should run and what people need to do their day-to-day job, and then anything outside that, we'll block it. People can request as they need, but then admin has a chance to go through, see if this is a necessary application for that person to do their job and approve as they need. But then from there, obviously, like you said, networks, controlling network traffic, who needs to have access, when they need access, and when ports need to be open, etc. And we can go into storage access as well, controlling moves, writes, deletes, USB drives. Do we want to allow USB drives? And we can also get quite granular. We can allow by a serial. So if you have set USB drives that the company wants to allow, we'll say, okay, yeah, well, their company approved USB drives, we can allow them based on their serial number. So can really get quite granular there within each realm. We do also have our elevation control, which goes into the removing the need for local admin rights and only elevating as we need, and get down to the basis of only by application. So you're not giving admin rights to the whole endpoint at the time, we're just going by what application needs it at the time. So it's really about breaking apart each part, I guess, and giving what is necessary to that module, I guess, in our language at the time.
There's also, I think, an issue of do it quickly, right? Because I think one of the big fear of the zero trust was like, you're going to stop me from doing my business.
Doing your job,
You're going to disable stuff that we need. But if you can actually adjust that really quickly, then you overcome that issue.
No, definitely. And through the ThreatLocker platform, pretty much anything that is a block has the ability for a request. So, I mean, companies can be hard and they can just say something's a straight block, and then that user will be told, okay, no, you can't request this. But anything like an application, if they try to download something they need for their job, a request pops up straight away. They can put in why they need it, and it goes straight into our portal for that admin of the portal to approve or deny on the spot if they have to. Same with elevation requests. There's the ability straight away for them to request, and that can be done if they go straight in and they know what it is, they know what they're dealing with. They don't have to research that tool before they approve it. It can be done within a matter of minutes. And even with the ability of our ThreatLocker mobile app, they can be approved remote as well. So admin can get a ping on their phone and approve an application remotely.
Can I zero trust Sean? And then we go from there. Just deny everything.
You do that anyway.
Yeah, I reckon.
You do that anyway. Well, no. The more I hear and the more I learn, it sounds super powerful. And I think to Marco's point, years past, it's been difficult to get a view of the organization and how it works to be in a position where you could deny all. From the start.
It's traditionally quite painful.
Right.
And I think people just avoided the topic because in their brain it was, I don't want to do that, that's too hard.
Yeah, inventory, discovery, allocation of this stuff to the business. Now, it sounds like ThreatLocker has the ability to really provide that view early on so that the policies can be applied easily early on and manage exceptions easily, which is the other point that Marco made.
No, definitely. Danny's done a really good job at building out a tool that makes that zero trust mentality a lot easier and a lot more achievable for companies. And it, going forward in the way the cybersecurity realm is going, it's more and more necessary to take a bit of a different approach and not trust everything anymore. Right. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, talking about Danny, we had a conversation with him.
Yes.
There is a directory on ITSP magazine for ThreatLocker, and that's where everybody can just go and listen to the other conversation we had, and the many more that we will have.
Exactly. So there's even a link to the Essential 8, the work that you're doing, and so people can access that information and see how well things align, and can take their journey from 1 to level 3.
Yep, that's it.
And for the future, what's next for you? Where are you off to?
Where am I off to? Oh, everywhere.
Everywhere. I don't know, so many events coming up.
Yeah, yep. We're in Bali next week, I think it is, with a conference
Bali.
there. Yeah.
Been there, not a bad place.
Yeah, I've never been.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm very excited. Yeah, there, and we've got the whole team's catching up at the end of the year as well. So in about 2 weeks' time, we get everyone in ThreatLocker together to catch up as well. But then a very action-packed 2025
right.
we're up to. I was about to say 2024. Australia team's fully on board now as well, because most of us didn't start until February this year. So it'll be our first full year within the Australia region, APAC region. So it'll be full on getting across to a lot of events within Australia, so there'll be heaps of opportunities to catch up with many more people as well.
Very cool. Well, good luck.
What I find super impressive is ultimately it's about the human, right? And when you talk about business, I look at everything from an operational perspective. There's no single business model from a security perspective you can just drop in. And so connecting the human element on the ground, in the places, directly with the business, I think you have the winning formula for understanding what's needed to protect each business. Yeah. Personally, with that one-on-one connection on the ground is super impressive. So, and of course, I mentioned on our previous chat, we'll be with the team in Orlando for Zero Trust World 2025.
Oh, it'll be amazing.
In February.
And, we'll be there.
There's a link to that in the directory, ThreatLocker directory as well. So hopefully people will join us and come and say hi to everybody, and perhaps maybe you'll have some Australian representatives there as well. We'll see.
We might manage to get someone over there.
If you want to see Jade in Orlando, help. Have a chat with her. All right. Well, thank you, Jade, for the insights and the information, and thanks everybody for listening and watching. And we'll see you more. There's more stories from ThreatLocker coming your way, and obviously lots more from CyberCon here throughout the week.
And maybe we'll be back in 2025, and we'll talk again.
Surely.
2025. There's that number again.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and that you will come back for more brand stories on ITSP Magazine. If you want to share your company's brand story, go to itspmagazine.com and explore our advertising options to learn more. Remember to share this podcast with your friends, family, and colleagues, and stay tuned for more brand stories as we continue our journey toward redefining cybersecurity, technology, and society.